Today's episode of the One Piece podcast is sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. What can people get this month, Ed?
This month, they're featuring exclusive items from Terminator Genesis, Borderlands, and more, including an exclusive t-shirt you won't find anywhere else. So back up your hard drive, learn a little binary, and get ready to download your disembodied consciousness into Loot Crate systems. So obviously, this month's theme is cyber.
And Steve, you're the one who told us about Loot Crate. Why do you like Loot Crate, Steve?
Because everyone's a geek.
It's true.
No.
Yeah, it is true.
Well, no, it's like, come on, we're a podcast dedicated to covering a manga and an anime, and I think our fans are fans of other geeky stuff. Lots of us kind of grew up in the 90s, and the previous set had a boss-ass Power Rangers t-shirt, and I think it's great for our fans that, hey, not all of us get to go to cons, so I think this is like it's like a little convention swag in a box. You get a lot of cool stuff that, you can't get anywhere else. It's like, hey, I got a cool t-shirt, or I got Marvel ice cube tray.
Those are actually pretty cool.
Because sometimes you want to drink Spider-Man.
I'm going to use those.
I just think, hey, if you don't live in areas where you get a lot of comic book conventions or anime conventions, I think this is really cool. A nice chance for you to get some cool swag every month. Treat yourself.
You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that cyber crate that Ed just mentioned. And just go to lootcrate.com/onepiece and enter the code LUFEED. You save $3 on any new subscription. Again, that's lootcrate.com/onepiece. Enter the code LUFEE. It's the main character of the show. Should be easy to spell. Let's get into the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 372 for the week of Monday, June 8th, 2015. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
On today's podcast, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you doing?
I'm good. We're recording slightly earlier, so I'm a little out of sorts, but
yeah,
I'll be fine. I have coffee.
Good. We also have the Eisner Award winning, the award nominated. I don't know how it works.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
It's a good vibes. We have Joey Weiser from Mermin. Hey, Joey, how you doing?
Hey, good. Between the manga, the anime, Treasure Cruise, the catch-up, and listening to 2 podcasts every week, I have a lot of One Piece in my life right now.
Well, welcome to our world, Joey. You're in good company here. Why don't we start with that? We are doing a One Piece read-through. We're reading the first 75 volumes of One Piece, not to include the next 75 that are to come. And we are currently, our most recent episode, we went through Whiskey Peak, Drum Island, and Little Garden. I suggest you guys listen to that. This week, we're going to be going through Alabasta. That's volumes 18 through 23.
All of the Alabasta.
All of Alabasta. And I guess the first chapter and a half of volume 24, it kind of goes straight into Skypiea after that. But I'm very, very excited to talk about it. I forgot how much I love that arc. It's the first real big arc of the series that's like more than 2 volumes. Significantly more than 2 volumes.
Yes, it's about 6 volumes.
So yeah, please read along with us. It's been a lot of fun. Things got a little emotional last week because it was Chopper's flashback. And things will probably get emotional in different ways next week, but we're looking forward to it. Also,
It's going to be emotional.
yeah, so check that out. That's every Thursday at OnePiecePodcast.com. I do want to let people in on some bad news. There's no chapter next week. That's bad news. But we're also not doing a podcast next week, which is worse news.
That's also bad news.
It's also bad.
Pot test contains potassium benzoate.
That's definitely bad. So even though that's not happening, we are doing a One Piece read-through next week for the first part of Skypiea. So don't fret. There'll be an episode on Thursday. I think we'll also have a 20 minutes of bullshit during our normal One Piece podcast time.
You sure will.
Yeah, that's good. And also, Endless Schmaltz is continuing every Thursday and this past Sunday with the most recent Garlic Jr. episode. So please, if you like or if you don't like Gundam Wing, it's the perfect podcast for you. And if you like or you don't like the Garlic Jr. saga,
Nobody likes the Garlic Jr. saga
of Dragon Ball Z, definitely worth a check out.
kind of the point, though.
Please let us know what the next show you want us to do. I think we have a long time before we have to worry about that. But yeah, please suggest stuff. I think right now the two big ones I've been hearing, the main big one I've been hearing, I think is Power Rangers, and there's one
Outlaw
other.
Star?
Well, I want to do Outlaw Star. Because as a kid, I think I was a little late for Power Rangers. I feel like maybe not. I don't know.
Something tells me Outlaw Star is going to hold up better than Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Though I'm surprised how Gundam Wing has not held up as much as it has. I don't know. I have like a really special place in my heart for that show, so I've been a little surprised as to how poorly some parts are done. Anyway, so check that out at endlessschmaltz.com. Yeah, exactly that. Also, please support us on Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Lots of cool perks there. And we're going to be adding a lot more and new videos related to OPP Dallas, which will be coming out probably in July. Through October. It's a web series with interviews, exclusives, a lot of really cool surprises. So you're going to want to check that out. We'll give you more information as that happens. I think that covers everything. Today, Ed, we have an anime recap of episode 696, right?
That's correct. Tearful Reunion, Rebecca and Kuros.
And we also have a manga recap for chapter 789, and that one is entitled, I had a look, even though it's one word, and I should really have known it, Lucy. It's the 2 exclamation points that really got me. I couldn't figure it out. So, yeah, please listen on as we get into the podcast. Ready to start?
All right.
Let's do it. This is the manga recap for chapter 789, Lucy. Lucy! There's a way to say it. That's it. That's the way to say it. Ed, what's going on in the
Don't
front
have
page?
Alex here to trump us both, Ed.
Yeah. On the first page, we have Shanks and a bulldog hanging out at the coffee, beer, and smile shop.
I love this cover page a lot.
It looks so annoyed.
Yeah,
Is the smile is that why the dog is so big? Because he got the kid treatment from Punk Hazard. The smile.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's just a guy who ate the bulldog fruit.
No, maybe it's like not the Pekins. I don't know. Yeah, like Beppo is who I'm trying to think of. It's of that race. Isn't that, we've had theories that race
I
exists?
think we're overthinking this.
I think we are too. It does. I love that dog.
But that's pretty much all that's happening on that page.
Well, why do they serve Smile?
The smiles are free.
Well, when you drink coffee and beer, that's what happens.
That bulldog's trying his hardest to smile. It's just not happening.
Yeah. Yes, I guess we are just completely going way off the rails as far as like the pattern of Straw Hats in the requests.
But
like,
it's been 17 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
This one was requested by Yasu from Chiba.
And you know what? It's going to take forever if you do that. And they won't be very interesting because we've been doing it for 17 years. It's like, okay, I get it. Let's move on. It's fun having interesting.
It's actually one of the interesting things from the read-through is that there used to be single cover pages.
Mm-hmm. And there used to be color pages as part of the chapter.
Right. I think the last one we had was in, chapter 600?
The time skip. The time skip was the last
time
one.
skip.
I don't think that was 602, wasn't it? I forgot what that was. Anyway, Ed, you want to get started?
Sure. Back with the closing bird cage. People were trying to push on it to keep it from crushing everything. They had stopped it for a moment earlier, but now it's pretty much about to burst. It's cutting into the Royal Plateau, and Tank and King Riku show up to help push, and people are a little surprised by that.
Well, they haven't really done very much. Someone pointed out it's like King Riku hasn't done shit. Why is he's just sitting there? He's a stupid guy. I've never been anti-King Riku at all. I mean,
how could you be?
There's so many characters in this arc. I understand why Riku is kind of just there for motivation, I think, for the most part, is what he's been there. He's been there to motivate everyone.
That's right. He's the figurehead monarch, like, Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, he's the Queen Elizabeth of One Piece.
Yeah, he does frown a lot.
Wouldn't you be surprised if Queen Elizabeth started doing this? I would. I mean, it's pretty shocking.
A spin-off show for Riku and his corgis.
Please continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, so he commends the people. If it wasn't for them, thousands of lives would have been lost already. And Frankie sort of snickers off to the side. He's like,
I love
yep.
that. I love that Frankie panel. Just cut to the creepy Terminator guy.
He's proud. He's proud of this guy. He's like, yeah, good for you.
And Frankie gives a rousing speech. Being free is what humans do best. To hell with the birdcage. And he tells them to keep pushing, and then Tontada say, "We are." And he says,
On
"Push
the
harder."
cruise.
Shut up.
We are.
He says, "Push harder," and the humans say, "We are."
You still were in the Tontada voice a little there.
A little bit.
Cut to Hiroshi Kitadani's "We Are" plays in the background.
Yeah.
So push that birdcage right back, and everyone roars.
Okay, so on the next page, we zoom out as we hear people rawing in the background, and Rebecca yells out to Viola to stop, but she kicks at Doflamingo, who it looks like just blocks it.
I love. It's kind of like with the Usopp stuff, where they go through everything. He went through everything in order to try and defeat Treble and Sugar back years ago, whenever that happened. And now here with Viola, it's clearly she's been trying. I mean, she's bleeding pretty profusely on the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And Doflamingo remarks that she's served him for 10 years, and he thinks that it's ridiculous that she thinks that she could, make him, that he would hesitate to kill her, and calls her Violet, the name that he assigned to her. And he says, "I do not punish my people for failure." And then he traps her, and she can't move. And he says, "But I will never forgive betrayal." And then we see Rebecca wobbling a little bit and unsure about herself, and it's because she cannot control her own body. And Viola instantly knows what's going to happen and says, stop this, and to leave her out of it. But Doflamingo commands Rebecca to kill her, and Rebecca is like, "Oh no, what's happening?" And Viola looks away unhappily and says, and Rebecca calls out, "Viola, I do not want to do this."
I just want to mention one thing. I'm sorry I'm going to be making a lot of Alabasta comparisons because I literally just finished reading all of it. But it's really interesting that Doflamingo has the exact opposite ideology as Crocodile, where Crocodile would punish people for failure, but forgives betrayal. But he forgive betrayal because he's like, "I expected you all to betray me from the beginning," is what he did with Robin when he stabbed her.
I never trusted anybody.
I mean, and the funny thing is, both of them are the most stereotypical villains in a way. Doflamingo and Crocodile. They're
And
evil
it's like,
incarnate.
Doflamingo believed in like the family, but Crocodile was all about keeping as much information from everyone as possible.
Yeah, which was again the article Jill wrote about. It's really interesting seeing these comparisons here, especially after having just read it. I'll continue though. Next, we get a map of not Psychons, but very similar looking, very icons.
Would have ripped us off.
Hate it when Oda does that. But it's good to orient ourselves, especially where I think trying to just show everyone's trying to push the birdcage in different directions, which is what we kind of went through last week. Citizens yelling, "Go further into town," and saying, "No, you can't because it's crazy in the middle of town because this fight's happening." Several fights are happening because there's also Burgess and Sabo in there somewhere, which we don't see at all in this chapter. But the birdcage is coming in on the other direction. It's the same issue we've been dealing with over and over. And we zoom in, and I believe that is Bartolomeo's shoe. I forget who has that
Yeah, that's
I
Bartolomeo's.
think it is. And saying
How could you forget those checkered pants?
easily?
Apparently.
And you see the gladiators and everyone pushing through with Bartolomeo's barrier, and Kyros realizing, where has Rebecca gone? Great father you've been for the last 20 minutes.
I also want to point out in the third panel up there, it's kind of hard to see unless you zoom in, but there's a guy who has one of the shirts on, and it took me a little while because it sort of wraps around the side of his back, and so I didn't know if there were letters.
That's a long one.
Missing, but what it says is "Tonari ni togatta atama no ko ga," which means next to me is a kid with a pointy head.
That's a really good one.
I'm with stupid.
Yeah, exactly. He wore his "I'm with stupid" shirt with the little kid.
Wow.
That's terrible.
I think that's my favorite one so far.
That might be my favorite one so far. Where do you get these shirts? Yeah, I mean, again, reading Alabasta, they have ridiculous shirts like that, but they get super specific here. We had to.
What was it? The what Baroque works, but he's wearing a Miss Valentine shirt.
I love Ms. Valentine. It's like, okay, you guys are really hiding things here.
She's hot.
They're so secret that they can wear Baroque's work shirts and nobody knows what it means.
Well, there's a Baroque. There's fan clubs, and oh yeah, it's like us wearing our Jolly Roger, and we're walking around the street. A lot of people don't know what it is, but
We're not a secret organization. We want people to know about us.
we're not. Shit, I've been going about this the wrong way.
What the hell does this banana me mean?
I think my favorite of the shirts still was last week's one with the letter on it. I love the sort of mixing of images and words.
Yeah, the letter. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We go to the top of the mountain where we see Gyats and his two. We need a name for these two because it's just Gyats and his two assistants. And Zoro and Fujitora are obviously trying, although who could tell with Fujitora? I can't. And Doflamingo is satisfied, also pretty typical. So Gyats and his two assistants are at the top, and then Zoro and Fujitora are pushing the cage, and then we see Doflamingo being as satisfied as he always with, and Manchuri is crying, because that's also what she does, and Gyats warms up and begins a speech to last, much like King Riku's speech, most of the chapter. Listen, everyone, it's just a little bit longer. Steve.
I'd also like to add that Gyats, this group should be called Gyats and the Gyats Girls.
That's the best you could come up with.
Alliteration.
Girls.
Oh, it is
The
alliteration.
girls. The girls. Oh my God, that's not there at all. And
The Gyals.
murmuring. Yes, they will for now be known as Gyats and the Gyals.
Or Gyats and the Gyals.
Gyals. It gets harder and harder to pronounce every time. So we get a murmuring from the crowd as they look up and they're like, "What's that? Who's speaking?" And Gyats is kind of panting as he prepares his next statement. He's like, "The star will return," and everyone's like, "What's going on right now?" And some guy's like, not even like a look. Oh, as he points.
It's a
It's coming
Godzilla.
from up there.
Oh!
I like that one better.
Oh,
Is that the Japanese Hank Hill? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
no, maybe.
Oh, differing opinions here.
And everyone has awesome vision as they look from afar and they see, oh, it's Gyats, the Coliseum announcer. When did you get over there? What are you doing? And he's like, have you all forgotten? No, of course you haven't. And someone's like, make him stop. This is just wrong right now. And everyone's like, hey, the kingdom is about to be destroyed. Like, who do you think you are? You think you're King Riku here? Everyone's from some different part of the United States.
Okay.
And Gyats goes on. It's just like the man that set foot in today's Coliseum battle. He glittering and sparkling, our rightful fearless star in the making. It's like I certainly haven't forgotten him. We cut the cabinet. She's like, he said, "Star, is he talking about me?" And we got the say Trafalgar. It's like, hey, Trafalgar. as Law has disappeared.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done that this arc, by the way. The Garlaw thing.
Is it the first time when he kind of tried to kill him?
I don't remember when it was. This arc has been too long, but the Garlaw thing is
it was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And Gyats continues through Lucy's resume. He tamed the dreaded killer bull who struck fear into the hearts of all. And we get the classic shot of Lucy riding on top of Moosey. Smiles. He felled a giant whose head split the clouds above, and everyone's like, "Okay." Except, look at this! Look at the sour lemon face on this guy on the left. Yes, I seem to recall that.
What does that guy's jacket say in the bottom panel?
That says. It says "omoida" and there's a tongue, which means "shita." This actually took me a while. I think Greg pointed me in the right direction. So it says "omoida shita," which means "now I remember."
Wow. And actually, that guy in the same panel in the right is wearing Luffy's shirt. He's wearing the sunflower shirt.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Kind of. Sort of, I think.
Maybe he got it from the same shop.
Maybe.
It's the Uniqlo.
Dressrosa Uniqlo.
Need I remind you guys that it was Kanjuro that made Luffy's shirt?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think, at least. Because remember, like, Kanjuro made their disguises. I don't know so much if he made...
You mean Kinemon?
Kinemon, yeah.
Yeah, I keep saying Kanjuro? Sorry.
It's easy to mix.
Oh, they're the same thing. Yeah, we pan out. It was to see more of the crowd looking up at these tiny little dots that is Gyats and the Gyals. He crushed Don Chinjiao, the living legend. This little gladiator who brought life into the Colosseum. No, to Dressrosa itself. I've never seen the like. And ... as we continue. I should mention, Gyats sure is counting on the fact that everyone saw the Colosseum when...
Yeah.
Not everyone did. I know they brought...
Well, it's like us, making Simpsons references and assuming you've all...
It's like someone going up to Zach like, "Oh, man, how about that Yankees game today?" And Zach's like, "I don't know. I don't care."
I'm a Mets fan. Go on.
All right, so Gyats continues. He's never seen the like of a man whose fighting is so free-spirited and thrilling. And it turns out he was right because everyone's like, "Oh, I saw it on the TV in town. I was there."
Yeah, I saw it on the telly.
Why is everyone from a different place?
I don't know.
And they're like, "Oh, I think his name was," and then Gyats finishes, "His name is Lucy." And apparently that that rings a bell for Rebecca, who's like, "Oh yeah." And the people continue, "Oh yeah, that's him, but yeah, so what? What's you trying to say?" And Rebecca remembers Lucy, and she's in this terrible predicament. She doesn't want to cut Viola down, and so she pleads, "Help me, Lucy." And on the other page, Gyats says, "Yes, that is Lucy, also known as Straw Hat Luffy." Boom. And
it's interesting that we're concealing the other Lucy. Does Gyats know about that?
Yeah, Gyats did. He learned.
Yeah.
I saw that guy. He was the guy that got the flame fruit. No. That's a different Lucy. That's Lucy too.
Yeah, and he was like,
"How many cheating. Lucys are there again?"
Also, how did they all forget who won the Colosseum match?
A lot of shit's happened.
That's true. It's been a crazy
day. That's when wild animals started rampaging through town.
Steve. Shh.
Sorry, I was taking you seriously.
But of course, nobody had realized that this was the true identity of Lucy, and they are all shocked. And Gyats points out, "We were deceived and ruled by a pirate for years, so trusting another pirate for help might be a little bit too much for some people to swallow." And we get these pictures underneath of Orlumbus pushing against the barrier. I'm not sure why it's just Orlumbus.
Well, it's just Orlumbus, though. Don't question it.
And then another scene of chaos. And this guy's shirt says "Baki Baki Itteru," which Baki Baki is the crack sound of the buildings in the background. So he's like, "Oh, they're a kraken."
And it says
effect.
Baki X2.
Yes. Yeah. And Gyats continues, this is not... Lucy's mask is not the hero's mask that the Don Quixote family wore on the night 10 years ago. This is the man that our true king, Riku, claimed was our only hope. He is currently out of commission with injuries suffered in battle, but tremble with joy, Dressrosa, for he has made us an ironclad oath. I kind of feel like this is getting into like the angel Gabriel, like tremble with joy, for Lucy has made us a promise.
Well, Gyats is a melodramatic guy.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
pretty clear from everything we've seen before this, which is, I think, why we loved him so much. Ed, finish this speech off.
So Lucy has made an ironclad oath for a one-hit KO of Doflamingo. And everyone goes, crazy. Love it. And Don Chinjiao is sideways, but he recognizes that it is a bold claim. And Zoro chimes in, we're not gonna last long if you can't do that, Luffy. You gotta back that up. Everyone is cheering him on, and Guts starts again against Doflamingo. He says, "You manipulated the king and fooled the world. You stole the throne. You're a false king. This will be your execution stand."
And what you gonna do, brother?
Pretty much.
Luffy runs wild. That was a wrestling promo ending if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
And Gyats calls him out. "I can see everything. Come after me if you must, but get away from Lady Viola and Rebecca."
Yeah, he thinks to himself, right? I mean,
Is that what that is?
Yeah, he's thinking to himself because, I mean, that's obviously his motivation that he's...
Right.
So Lucy, the star of the Coliseum, will return. Everyone cheers. 10 seconds from now. Oh my God.
10
How many gum gums
chapters
is that?
later.
That's at least 3 gum-gums. I mean, I'd watch out.
Pretty long.
I mean, it's at least 35 gummy gum-gums and 56
It's really
super gummy gums.
really fortuitous too that he timed his speech so that it was going to end right at the 10-second countdown.
He's a pro.
Gyats is a pro. It's right.
He is. I mean, to be honest, if anyone's going to,
that's
Gyats
good.
is, yeah.
Good argument.
But you see Hyruden, he kind of gurgles and falls over, and people are confused. What's going on with Hyruden?
Also good timing.
Go to the next page.
And then the next page, as the Tontada has remarked that time is up. Dr. Robotnik and Edion, the super robot, both fall. And then the crowd cheers. 8 seconds, or I suppose that's Gyats, huh? Saying
Yeah.
8 seconds.
The crowd is just saying raw.
Yeah. Rah!
Actually, they're consistently rawing throughout all of it.
And, but then people are saying, like, what's happening? All of the people who were fine just moments ago are collapsing. And up here now we see Manshuri and Cub, right? That's Cub? Yeah. And and so the effects of Manshuri's Dandelixirs are wearing off. And she's very sorry. She says, "I got everyone's hopes up only to dash them against the walks." But he reassures her that no, without her, the birdcage...
Wait, I kind of want to hear... Who wants to do the Cub voice?
I
think
can do
Ed's
it.
good, right?
I can do it too.
You want to do it? You gotta do the Eric Cartman.
No, Princess.
Yeah.
That one? Yeah.
Go for it.
Sure.
No, Princess. If it weren't for the Dendrixes, countless folks would have fallen prey to the birdcage already. You created a miracle. You've done your part. The West is up to Woofy Land.
It's like a Tontada-ized Cartman, a little.
He's got one more line right at the top, right?
You will get withered in this awful cage.
Awful cage.
This offer cage.
No, it just fades out.
And Gyats continues the countdown as the people struggling against the birdcage need more.
What happened to 7? It goes from 8 to 6.
6.
Well, there was
what
a
happened
lot
to
of
7?
That whole Cub speech.
Oh.
We gotta start it again, guys.
because 7, 8, 9 is that
9,
No.
9,
Okay.
8, 7.
That's more what happened. Yeah.
And then, so, since people are falling, they're needing to switch out healthier people to push against the cage. The countdown continues. 5, 4, and Gyats says, "Wherever he is, he's listening. Call that star's name." And people chant, "Lucy, Lucy." And Law's just sleeping, I guess. Not doing so good.
No, I think his eyes are open, right? It's hard. It is hard to tell because of the shading.
Yeah, they are in shadow. He's looking
noticing,
at Lucy as he rises.
Get up, you son of a bitch.
I guess Law is the coach here.
Yeah, and 3 seconds to go as the crowd raises 3 fingers in the air.
Mm-hmm. And then it's 2, but suddenly Gyats looks pretty bad, and there's blood streaming from his mouth, and we pull back to see that finally, it only took him 8 seconds, but Doflamingo finally decided to go after Gyats. And he's using his, looks like his awakened string power to kind of spear him through the chest.
Yeah, I think he was pretty far away, so 8 seconds just might have been how long it took to get there.
Yeah, I suppose. And the Gyals are screaming for Gyats, and but he's still got that look of determination. He's not going to let it stop him. And the crowd counts down to 1, and Doflamingo's like, "Oh, this is a farce." And
the
then
appropriate reaction.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell is happening right now?
There's no way that you can count down and know exactly when he's.
It's like Doflamingo's the only one in our world. It's like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
What are you counting? How do you know this?
Yeah, no one's ever like, "Oh, how long will it take for you to get here?" Exactly 10 minutes. I will be there in 10 minutes.
5, 4.
Maybe Luffy would have been fine a few seconds ago, but he figured, I'll just save my strength.
Yeah, that's for the sake of the plot.
yeah.
And Doflamingo was like, I was explicitly told it was 150 gum-gums from now and not 75.
What if Luffy pulled like a Goku towards the end of Dragon Ball with Vegeta's like, "Hey, you said you needed a few minutes. Are you okay now?" And Goku's like, "Well, I guessed, and I don't know. I need more time." Whoops. Sorry, guys.
Much more realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another shirt on the bottom there.
Yes, the countdown is down to 0. We see the entire kingdom cheering, and yes, there's a little shot of some folks. The guy looks like he has an apron, and it says Ojikan Death, which is that would be a corruption of Ojikan Des, which just means it's time or time is up. So he's that's his moment. It's moment to shine. His shirt foretold it, and we get shots of the principal characters kind of in the moment. Riku looks intense, and Zoro's shouting for the pushing, and Usopp is clinging to Hack, and Robin's doing something. And Gyats gets off good line. Rotten hell, Doflamingo, our star Lucy will sink you in one hit. And we go back to Rebecca and Violet, Viola. And it doesn't look like Rebecca has moved at all. She's still just sitting there yelling. It's like Doflamingo's really wasting a lot of good time here. And then Viola, I do like this line. She says, "Close your eyes." She realizes that there's nothing that they individually can do. So all she can do is close her eyes to prevent herself from seeing what's going to happen. It's a nightmare. This is not your fault. You have to forget this. I'm not going to blame you for anything that happens. You've done nothing wrong. And Doflamingo's controlling Rebecca, making her run forward with the sword over her head. And Viola thinks to herself, "I'm so sorry for leaving these terrible scars on your heart." But
I just want to remark that at the top of this page, that little silent montage I thought was really effective after we had so much of the crowd cheering in the, for pages and pages and people yelling and stuff, to have this sort of out of, this sort of out of time sequence where we see everyone pushing together, but we don't hear anything, I thought was very effective.
Mm-hmm.
And ka-ching, crack, hurrah, doom, and terabang. Luffy takes the place of Viola, and Rebecca's blunt sword cracks over his skull.
That's a good point, actually. It's a blunt sword, as we were reminded at this week's anime episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this week's anime episode did remind me that it was a blunt sword.
Wait, so how is she going to kill Viola then? Good job, Doflamingo.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh god damn it!
There was really no tension here at all.
He hasn't thought of everything.
Well, Rebecca, you didn't kill me yet, sweetie, but my ribs are definitely broken. Just don't think about it. Don't. I think that's my pelvis. But honey, please don't think about it. Don't worry, it'll all be over soon. Just no, that.
You done?
Almost.
Yeah, go on with the actual page.
Thanks for calling out on that bullshit. Yeah, and this is silence. It's just a bunch of silent reactions as we see the sword continue to shatter over Luffy's head. We see that Law has switched places with Luffy and Viola, and Doflamingo says something really original. He's like, "Straw Hat!" And Rebecca's just like, "Yeah." Drip, drip, cry, cry. Waste. And Law just says, "Go." And Gyats takes a breath, a moment of silence. It's just like, "There he is!" And the crowd goes, and it's like, "It's Lucy," as Luffy turns around and gives Doflamingo the biggest "I'm gonna kick your scrawny ass" look to Doflamingo, and Doflamingo is just like, heh, heh. Who, me? Heh.
I've been looking for you, asshole.
I love what Law does there. That's a clever thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Switching places.
It wasn't even, as we said, not super necessary, but it helps. Why not? It's also, how the fuck does Law have any power left? Is another question. I guess through Manchuria a little bit, but
Yeah, he got healed, roughly.
a little bit. He's not in good condition though. So thoughts on this chapter? I am going to start with Joey. Hey, what do you think, Joey?
Yeah, it was a fine chapter. I think it's like last week is a really good. It was important for pacing for the overall finale. Like in the volume, it will read well. It's definitely Gyats' time to shine. He has some good things to say and really works that Coliseum announcer those skills of his. But yeah, it was kind of what I was expecting. Just another kind of build up for for 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, let's not remind me about that, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely kind of a counterpart to last week's chapter. It kind of fulfills the little kind of in between delay before the final confrontation. But it did, I don't know. Again, it's like I feel like it will read better in the context of a full read of the arc, but it was a bit frustrating to me just because I already kind of said that I don't really like the whole the countdown aspect, which we've been already making fun of in this chapter.
I don't know. I like it now that we're making fun of it.
Yeah, okay, sure. I guess if you want to just embrace the camp of it, then why not? But I don't know. I was just it reminded me. So I had seen this before we did last week's episode, and I remember some of you guys. I think in particular, Jammer was really hoping that having Rebecca and Viola with Doflamingo was going to mean that they were going to have some really cool thing to do for the story. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, you guys are so far off, because it's I don't know. It's just like the worst, most stereotypical thing that you could accuse Rebecca of doing. Is just being there and being useless and needing help, and just everything that we've been lamenting the whole time. And
Yeah, Doflamingo didn't just have one princess hostage; he had two.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like Viola. Like, how did you not see this exact thing happening? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that we're through this, and hopefully, it's sort of like, I want the conclusion to the Luffy and the Doflamingo fight to be as epic as possible, and to be something really worthy of finishing this arc off. And at this point, I'm kind of like, you know what? If Oda can do that in one chapter, if he can do the one hit KO in a single chapter and make it completely satisfying, then I'm all for it, because I'm just like, all right, let's just get
It's kind
going.
of promising it here.
Yeah.
It's gonna. Okay, Steve.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna echo a lot of what Steven was saying here. So
I'm not a big fan of the countdown stuff. This one was kind of really grasping for straws. Like, okay, it's almost coming. Like, oh, we do know Luffy's going to come back. I don't know. I don't think it was told in the most interesting way. I don't know. It's like the whole Rebecca and Viola scene wasn't suspenseful in the slightest, because I knew Luffy was going to come in and save it, and I knew neither of these characters were going to die. Yeah, that scene. What a terrible time to remind me that Doflamingo has the power to control people. Why was Rebecca here in the first place?
yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. Because
we got like one panel of her in the last few chapters where she was like,
running. And I thought, okay,
everyone's fighting, so I can help too. And then she fucked it all up. She did not help in any way.
Yeah, I think
It was.
I think, Steve, you were much more angry. I mean, we spoke a little bit about this, and I believe you were yelling for a couple of minutes
We're
about
outside.
this chapter. But I think the fact that my expectations for Rebecca, I guess they were a little bit there. I had more expectations for Viola, to be frank, and she, I think, fulfilled them. I think she was very well put together in this chapter. She fought as much as she could. We don't see very much of it.
Well, Viola's been the best new female character in this arc.
Yeah, I think yeah,
Next to Sugar, I'd say.
Yeah. As far as I can think of, I'm trying to think. There's probably others.
You're forgetting Jola.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jola. Oh
sorry,
man, it's been
Jola.
so long. What happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Jola
She
showed
came
up in
back
that,
and then, yeah.
that one chapter, like, "Hi, here I am. I'm Jola. Tontadas, come beat me up."
She got sewn into a Doflamingo family bag.
Yeah, Viola put it in a good kick, but we didn't get any eye whales, so that was pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
Where are the eye whales?
Yeah.
those were
Rebecca,
cool.
I just didn't understand. She was running. She decided not to help push the birdcage, which her one-legged father decided to do. So I thought, like, oh, okay, is this going to go anywhere? No, she was just used just so, just to cheapen this whole, oh my god, someone might die. She was just a tool for this whole scene. And just, yeah, we really ragged on Rebecca. But yeah, her character is just like, ugh.
It's just disappointing, I think. A lot
And
of
I used
people
to think
ask,
like, oh, I guess, well, she's supposed to be like a kid. Like, she's not experienced all that. But thanks to the One Piece read-through, which you could listen to on the One Piece podcast, the OP read-through,
On
I realized,
Thursdays,
there was this one girl one time. Her mother was killed, and she decided to join up with the pirates that killed her mother just so she could earn money and pay these pirates so she could reclaim the village, her home village that the pirates took over. Yeah, this girl was Nami, and she was 8 years old. So I can't make any excuses for Rebecca. It's just not a well-written character.
or maybe it may be purposely created like this, but it's still, even if that's the
And
case.
like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why write a crappy character with no? I thought
Growth?
like maybe she would like do something to kind of aid in. Well, I guess I can't say anything till Doflamingo's beaten, but I think at this point it's all Luffy here.
Yeah, it
I thought
definitely
she
is.
would do something to like help out, like with someone Doflamingo, but she's just blubbering till the very end, and it's not even like she's not even cursing Doflamingo. She's just saying, like, help me, somebody else. She's always been saying, like, even in the newest anime episode, she's just like, help me, soldier. Like, this is the same girl at the beginning of this arc was saying, I want to kill Doflamingo. Where did that go?
Yeah.
It just comes off as like a bluff now, where it's like, you're really talking out your ass, Rebecca. And I know the whole point of her character is, oh, she's a sweet girl like her mother. She shouldn't have to fight. But the last year, like over a year, the last year of this arc has just been about fighting. So,
yeah, I don't want to be like a backseat driver for Oda or whatever, but like with I was thinking about our two main complaints with this, with the countdown and with Rebecca, and it seems like the sort of structure of this chapter is the countdown to save Rebecca. And I wonder if we would have been a lot happier if it had been a countdown and then at 0, Luffy comes in with a huge punch to Doflamingo.
That's what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Instead of, yeah. So I wonder if that would have been a little more effective.
I don't like how this chapter was done. I don't hate this chapter. I think I said last week, I love the mirroring of the Colosseum to what we actually get here. It's like, oh, now we're in a Colosseum inside the birdcage where the fight really matters here, and it's Luffy versus Doflamingo, which is what we knew was going to happen from at the very beginning. That's fun. I like that. And the Gyats stuff was fun. I like that. Even with the stupid ass countdown, that doesn't annoy me. We've gotten that a million times in One Piece. And actually, reading through again, I'm sorry, the Alabasta stuff, there's 45 minutes, 25 minutes, 15 minutes, 90 seconds. They do a lot of that. But when you actually read through it, it might take 90 seconds to read through.
I think the suspense in that little piece was way better, and the payoff was so much better because there was a plot twist.
Yes.
It was brilliant.
Yes.
I like that scene way better than this. We all know it's like, okay, Luffy's going to show up. And the cool thing, too, is it was all on Vivi, because Luffy was still preoccupied with chasing down Crocodile.
Right. Or passed out. He actually just passed out in the middle and then woke back up. Right. Yeah. Which I was... It's very similar, the way that this ending is laid out, and the whole arc, I mean, is somewhat similar from Alabasta to this. This is obviously much more sprawling, and a lot different in a lot of its details. But generally, how it's been laid out here, this final fight is kind of similar, except that it's taking place on this stage and everyone's seeing it. It's kind of like a Colosseum, and that's important, and I like all that stuff, but the Rebecca stuff is just, I'm like, oh, I know this isn't going to go anywhere. Why are you wasting my time with this? And I don't really understand the preoccupation for Oda about Rebecca. I don't really understand it, and I think it really detracts. I think if you got rid... I want to say I do really like the backstory with her and Soldier, and I think that really helps during the section of the arc where they're trying to get, like, Usopp's part where he defeats Sugar, using that term lightly, I guess, but and reverses that spell. I think that it serves a much bigger purpose then. And I think ever since Kyros has turned back into an actual person, I think that story has just been very mishandled, and I think putting it at the end here just feels so just like a last minute decision. Just gonna throw it in here, just gonna throw some Rebecca in here. She hasn't been doing shit this whole time. It's like what you guys said, it makes no sense. I'm very I don't know, it didn't get me very angry when I read it. It's fine. I think you guys talking through it is getting a little more annoying to think about. I mean, I kind of just roll my eyes and I'm like, okay, let's just get on with the next chapter. I don't know if you guys have any other opinions about it that we haven't said.
Let's get it over with.
Well, what do you think is going to happen next chapter? Do you think, since Steven, also you're in the dark, it's one of those few times. That's right. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're going to get a 1 KO and that's it?
I think so. I just don't know. Like I believe that Gyats making a big deal about, he's promised us the 1-hit KO. I think that means that there will be a one-hit KO. I just don't know if that's just what we're going to launch right into, or if, if there's going to be some sort of final. There's got to be some sort of final confrontation between the two guys, and maybe Doflamingo will unveil some horrifying final form sort of deal, and then Luffy charges up his final move, and we get something really awesome. That's the way that I could see it possibly lasting more than one chapter, but it kind of seems like from a dramatic standpoint, like most everything has been cleared up at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a lot more that he could do to sort of slow it down.
I mean, Ed, do you think this is going to be a 1 KO?
He said it. It has to happen.
Yeah, what if it doesn't happen? Is how will you guys
What if
react
shut
to it?
up?
The crowd's going to be really disappointed. Oh,
Yeah, I
Gyats
know,
sold
right?
us a bad bill of goods.
Yeah, you saved our country and all, but
Took you 2 punches. Yeah, what if it's Gatling? It's like, that wasn't 1 punch. No. So he said one KO, so I mean it would be one.
That's what he
set
promised.
Of moves.
Luffy doesn't.
Yeah.
Luffy doesn't break his promises.
I mean, not purposely.
in save Ace.
Shut up.
I mean, I just feel like it's just got to be a series of epic panels of Luffy just kicking some ass, and it being over next chapter, or else I think people are gonna be freaking angry, especially with a break, and us included. I'm gonna be honest, unless something amazing happens, like Kaido steps in and be like, "No way, this isn't happening."
I definitely
let me
think the
beat him.
break. I definitely think he's timed it so that next chapter will be the defeat of Doflamingo with the break.
Better be, Jesus.
Yeah, I think we're like.
I don't want to see a chapter with Luffy just winding up a fist and like, it's a coming.
Now we've got to count down to the punch.
10, 9, 15, 30, just going up.
One thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is how completely destroyed Dressrosa is getting, like even more so than just the town being rearranged by Pika. Like everything's being scrunched together and sliced and destroyed. And
Ironically, his legs are one of the few things left standing. Yeah.
and I'm curious to see in the next few chapters where Oda goes with that, and if sort of the idea that he's going with is that this town had been so corrupted for a while that he just has to totally like scrap everything and start over from rubble, basically.
Yeah. I'm. It's not like the end of the Baroque work stuff where the town was basically fine, and they didn't really have to, there wasn't any of that rebuilding. I can't think of an arc where it's just like everything's, the Straw Hats are coming in and saving the day, but as a result also everything is destroyed.
Yeah, because it's like there's often a lot of collateral damage and a lot of stuff, and at first with everything being messed up it was just like, wow, it is really destroying a lot of stuff, but now it just seems so like purposeful. Like
I think it's a clean slate kind of thing. They're like, it's going to be, there's not going to really be any town left at the end of this. Mm-hmm. I think one of the last things we're going to see is probably the Colosseum getting sliced up, or like the major buildings getting sliced up, the palace getting sliced. I mean, the palace has already been.
So yeah, the plateau is already getting sliced.
Yeah, and the palace has been destroyed since like the middle of this arc when they cut the roof off.
Yeah, Luffy's gonna punch Doflamingo into some huge architecture and through it and into the birdcage, like destroying the final amount of town that is even left.
I mean, take it from One Punch Man coming to stores this September. I should really have money, please, Viz. But it's a One Punch can be really exciting if well done. So I'm hoping. Or it would also be cool if the name of the chapter was One Punch Man, but I don't see that happening. I'm very interested how things are going to wrap up. Any final thoughts here?
I think that's it.
Really want to see that punch.
I do. Yeah. We're going to have to wait 2 weeks for that, though. So the Manga Recap will return. I believe it is on June 22nd. We're going to still be back with a read-through. We're going through Alabasta this Thursday, the 11th, and the first half of Skypiea on the 18th. Please join us for both of those. We'll have a 20 minutes of BS on the 15th. Just want to remind people, we're still going to be working hard Still going to be a lot of cool stuff coming at you. But we're going to take a week off from the podcast proper, and the Manga Recap will return in 2 weeks along with the manga. I can't wait. It's going to take too long. I agree with what everyone else is thinking. So let's get into the next segment. Ready?
All right. The One Piece podcast is brought to you this week by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. It costs less than $20 a month. You get 6 to 8 items, including licensed gear, apparel, collectibles. As we mentioned before, there's Marvel Ice Cube trays and special one-of-a-kind t-shirts that you can't get anywhere else.
Well, the Marvel Ice Cube trays were from last month, but yes, maybe something like that.
But this month, they're featuring items that feature cyber. So Terminator Genesis, Borderlands, it's going to be all over the place. You never really know what's going to be in a Loot Crate, but they give you a couple of hints.
But it'll be cool. So, Ed, you only have until the 19th of the respective month to get that Loot Crate at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so I think that's around midnight on midnight Eastern time, to pick up that month's Loot Crate. And you get $3 off if you go to lootcrate.com/onepiece and enter the offer code Luffy. And that's what we suggest you do, because it'll show that, you know, you support not just the podcast, but you also support Loot Crate there. So go to lootcrate.com/onepiece and enter the offer code Luffy. Is there anything you want to add, Ed?
I think that's it.
Okay, then why don't we get on with the show?
All right. This is the anime recap for episode 696, A Tearful Reunion, Rebecca and Kyros.
And since this is a Rebecca-heavy episode of the podcast, an episode of the anime, and chapter of the manga, I do want to just say up front, this was a pretty beautiful-looking episode, I thought.
You don't say.
I mean, beyond that.
I think it had 2 different studios working on it. It had kind of like the standard, not great, not terrible animator, and then for action scenes, it was, here comes the budget.
Yeah, like Kyros versus Diamante. We'll get to that in a second. But
yeah. I just want to say that up front so it doesn't distract from other things we may say. I don't know what we're going to say, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for starters, Rebecca's breasts weren't immobile this week, so there's that. That's always positive when they're realistically animated.
So that's why I mentioned what I mentioned up front, so when we get into that discussion.
Yeah, as weird as it is for... Anyway, I'll stop talking about that now. 6 minutes, 5 seconds of recap this week. We start with Luffy and Law. They keep running up the stairs. We get to Diamante and Rebecca in the sunflower field. And there's some really interesting art done this week where they hide Rebecca in the flowers a lot, and they sort of do a lot of...
Because Diamante is 50 feet tall, and she is apparently 3 feet. There's like... I guess sunflowers grow pretty tall, but it's the height disparity is insane. I don't know if
he's not a normal human being, at the very least.
He's Steven Tyler, who is also not a normal human being.
Look at you can see the lines in his face. He makes lots of weird faces in this episode. So Rebecca's basically... She's having a pretty bad time with this. He taunts her about her mother dying, and then sends her flying a few times after chasing her through the flowers. He basically tells her that you can't avenge your mother, and he basically repeats this a few times, and it's going to happen a lot over the next few episodes. So there's lots of Diamante laughing and making funny faces. Like, he laughs a lot for like 2 or 3 minutes in a row.
Yeah, that's what Greg said as well. I thought he just made weird faces more than laughed. I didn't maybe it's because I was trying to listen for the laughing. It's like he didn't. Did you notice this? Did you notice the part where he stared directly into the camera? And he was staring directly at the audience.
I think I remember that.
It's like it was right about this point in the episode, about a quarter of the way in. It was kind of weird.
He's like, women, right? They just won't get killed when you're trying to kill them. I don't know.
But
trying to think of a really corny thing people say into cameras.
Rebecca runs away slowly, and we close up on Diamante's face again, and you can see the wrinkles on his face like Steven Tyler. But then we get this sort of long, wide shot with a slow pan. It shows the entire action, and they focus a lot on the flowers in this episode, and I just think they're really animated well. What did you think, Steve?
Yeah, as soon as Diamante got that crazy look in his eye, like as soon as Rebecca started when she was on the run, that's when the awesome animation came in. From the moment it was just like the shot of Diamante's boots just walking, I could tell I'm like, okay, I think this is about to get pretty good. And some really intense scenes right here with Diamante going for the kill.
Yeah, he pulls out his royalty gun. Remember the gun that he has especially for family members?
Doflamingo has one of those too.
Yeah, he's a gun for special occasions.
It's a gun for special occasions. It's like a Doflamingo family thing. It's like you should always have a gun just in case you want to shoot someone very personally.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to like a dub of this because I think the translation of this dialogue is way too literal. Or it's like, or would you prefer to be killed by a gun? Because your mother was shot by a gun.
Shot by this very gun, or maybe another gun.
I wonder.
I thought like there is so many better ways to write that little bit of dialogue.
Do either of you watch which version of this do you watch for the simulcast? Because I've been watching Crunchyroll's.
Yeah,
I watch Crunchyroll as well.
Okay, I maybe we should do a comparison of this and Funimation's to see if they use the same subtitles because I'm not sure that they do.
I think you're right. I think it's a little different.
So I noticed that the Crunchyroll version is a little more liberal with the use of cursing than I would have expected, and I want to see if Funimation adheres to that as well.
So like the Scanlation group, they're not that bad at all.
It's not nearly that bad. It's just a little more, I
don't think I noticed that
damn
as much.
hell-ass kings, casual swearing.
Oh yeah, there's different levels of swearing, and you're right. Those are definitely better.
So finally, Daddy is home. What'd you guys think about his entrance?
Daddy's home.
Yeah.
I think it mirrored something in another segment on this podcast very closely. Is the only thing I was thinking during that. In how it happens almost exactly the same way. It was fun. It was the animation. This was an episode I think that looked better than the content that was there.
Yeah, the content was very well animated. There wasn't necessarily a lot of stuff happening.
The stuff that was happening, I don't care that much.
Really, you don't care about Kyros versus Diamante because that fight when they're like clashing swords, that looked really awesome.
No, maybe it's just because I've read the manga and I'm just like I know how things progress.
I read the manga and I was
okay. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood this morning when I watched it.
Thrilled watching this because I feel like the anime over the last bunch of years, I think follows the manga a little too close, frame by frame. So to see stuff like this, it reminds me of why I anticipated watching the anime after reading the manga.
Reminds me of like Water 7. You remember that incredible episode where Sanji confronts Robin on the canal in Water 7? Yeah. That's like my favorite anime episode of all time.
Really?
Just for just for the direction that they do with it at the end of that, like the close up on the eye and like the turn, like the camera moving in a circle. If that's the episode I'm thinking of, that is definitely one of my favorites as far as like what the anime can add to an episode. Because I remember we talked about it on the Manga Recap last year, and and I think this is also the point where a lot of people realize that Rebecca wasn't necessarily going to get revenge on Diamante by herself. That the story was more about Kyros than it was about her.
Yeah, I think it definitely is.
He basically says like he's spent all these years, teaching her to fight to defend herself, but she shouldn't have to fight. A father should be the one who fights. Little girls shouldn't have to fight. And it's a little patronizing. It's pretty, it's traditional gender roles, and it is heartwarming though.
Well, the thing is, all right. So I'm reading Alabasta. I think this is as good a time as any to make this comparison. Vivi, I think, is the same age. I think she was actually 16. We said last week she was 15.
Yeah, Chopper's 15, Vivi was 16.
Right. I've read that in the SBS for this one. And so is Rebecca, right? Rebecca's also 16.
According to the creepy guy at the convention, right, Steve?
Yes. No. According to the creepy guy at the convention, she's hot. And according to me, she is 16.
Now,
according to me, that is fact.
Those are both fact. But I think Vivi is just a much stronger character in general, and considering they're kind of the same. It's both royalty.
Well, no, I mean Vivi was raised in an incredibly supportive environment. Rebecca was the opposite of that.
That's also true. That's also.
They have like completely opposite upbringings.
Yeah, you're right about that. maybe that leads to part of this, because Rebecca just has a lot less willpower than Vivi. People rag on Vivi. I don't know why after reading the manga.
I told you.
Yeah, I'm a convert. It's she's a very strong female character.
Like Luffy has to punch her to make her admit that she needs help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just read that. It's
Also, when you think about it too, not only did Luffy punch her, she punched back. Yeah, like Vivi cried a lot, but she had a whole freaking nation. Like that was the moment she realized like, oh, this isn't just on my shoulders. But at the whole thing up to then was just, this is all on me. It's up to me to save my country. Yeah. How about Rebecca?
it's just she's.
I'll say this: from what I remember reading in the manga a year ago, I remember it just cutting to Rebecca just running through the flowers and like, I don't want to fight anymore. While this episode, she's like, she says, I don't stand a chance against Diamante, and I need to pass on this key to Lucy. So I'm just gonna that's retreat and live.
It's a better characterization.
Yeah, that gives her a lot more credibility in this scene, because I remember reading the manga and she just saying like, I don't want to fight. Yeah, it's not fun anymore. And getting really pissed off. So at least I give Rebecca credit for it. She's like, I'll die if I keep fighting him, and there's something I have to do. People are counting on me. So.
And but at this point in the episode, Lucy arrives and we go to the ad break. Coming back, we get our old promo music, not the overtake and the other one, and it's time for the key.
There's 3 people who know the music you're talking about.
It's like it's their epic music. They use it a lot.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that as the head cracker comes up behind Luffy and who's carrying Law, that what does it matter if they get eaten? They're just going to break out the inside of it. It's the thing's going to come back together after.
That also confused
It's
me.
not like it has a digestive system.
I know.
Yeah, but she manages to throw the key to them, and Law uses his. You see the chains fall first, and then the room expands, and that was it. The thing flies apart. Basically, it's pretty cool. It falls all the way down to the lower level of the.
It was
plateau.
a really cool scene. I like that scene. Plus, it's the first time we've seen Law do anything. I think it was a silhouetted thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's the first time we've seen him do anything in a long time.
Yeah, it was a little overdramatic, but no.
But I mean, it's Law and people, and they know who's watching this, and
they treat it as a lot more dangerous than I thought it was. Also, because I thought getting eaten by a head cracker doesn't really do anything.
Well, if we were watching this at an anime con, there would be yells and screams.
It's also because it's
God, Law's so hot.
from Steve, who just makes that voice all the time when he sees Law.
What is that, like Teen Girl Squad, Steve? What is this?
Does that sound like Teen Girls?
Oh my God.
Okay.
So fine.
Okay. Stop it. Okay, so Kyros tells Luffy and Law to go on and take Doflamingo out because basically Diamante is more important to Kyros than Mingo is ultimately because of what Diamante did. But then Luffy has this little conversation with Rebecca where he introduces himself as Luffy, the man who's going to be king of the pirates. It's such a good line.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little more drawn out here than it needs to be, but it was really impactful, I know, in the manga, and so for first-time watchers, I'm sure it's very impactful. I'm probably just jaded today for no reason. I have no idea why I don't know why I'm so cynical today, but yeah.
Do you notice that the sound of Diamante's sword is kind of like a tape cassette going in reverse very quickly?
It is such a cool noise. I forgot to mention that. Thank you for reminding me. I love what they do with Diamante's power. There's one thing about Bleach that I really loved, and that was that they had this really unique sound effect for the attack that I don't even remember what the bad guys from Hueco Mundo had, the Sarah.
Oh, the Arankar?
Yeah, the Arankar. They had this very cool sounding attack, and it's just literally in the sound engineering. It sounded really cool. And so I'm really happy that One Piece is experimenting a little more with that, because we don't get that much.
That's a different animation studio producing it. That's Pierrot. But and also it's why, because One Piece and Dragon Ball both come from Toei Animation, that you sometimes hear the same sound effects from Dragon Ball. Yes, sometimes. Yeah, so we see that Law's power is basically infuriating Diamante as he uses his Chambra's power to switch places with the barrel, and they get away. But in the on the plateau where they're going to look for Doflamingo, Law performs surgery on himself to remove the lead bullets. Lead. It's important. He's got plenty of energy left, though, actually, because he hasn't had to do anything for like the last 20 episodes.
Just being carried around.
Yeah. Yeah. Luffy, Law tries to get Luffy to cool down and have a plan. Luffy is not a fan of cooling down. He wants to be hot. He's very hot. So then we get, finally, last scene is schmucks are spying, and they tell Sugar to come down, and she comes down, and she got a crazy look on her face. This isn't good.
Oh my god.
I'm excited for that.
I commend the anime for making this as creepy as possible. I think that was a step in the right direction. Holy shit, though, her visual in her mind of her army of toys and the face she has when the camera pans up to her, I burst out in a giggle. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was well done. It's also kind of, it's the impending... I think they did a good job showing how important it is for someone to stop this from happening. Yeah. Indeed.
But that was the end of the episode. And any final thoughts you guys have that you haven't mentioned yet?
We're on a good streak here. I think we've been having some really good episodes.
Two episodes in a row qualifies.
Well, yeah, the animation, this episode and the last episodes, at least has included some of the best animation I've seen in the whole series. I don't
know, Zach. That's a bold statement. We are like 600 plus episodes.
Okay, in recent memory, that's probably
accurate. Yeah.
That's... definitely in recent memory, it's some of the best animation I've seen. Just like this kind of fluid. I don't want to compare it to Redline, but of that ilk, like of that kind of style, which is this week in particular. And then last week with that like Take on Me kind of look. It's really, really nice to see this kind of stuff. And it's also nice because it's kind of taking liberties from what we saw in the manga, because it's not drawn the same way. And that's
as you said, Steve, it's do you think the anime has been a little too faithful lately? It's interesting to see them take chances again.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I agree.
Just do it.
They're good episodes. Like, despite my cynicism about the content itself, I think they were very well handled by the anime staff. I think they did a great job. Yeah, that's all I have. So why don't we get into the next segment, guys?
Let's do it. This is our Patreon supporters segment, and this week we're focusing on our Patreon supporter, Shinjo Jin, who has created us a few passion projects that he wanted us to talk about on the podcast. The first one is a move list project entitled Nikarabin Rokushiki Style. It's a project he's been working on since 2007, and it sort of focuses on what kind of moves can be made with the Hana fruit and using the Rokushiki style. So if you, he has some links to a move list that he's created, inventing attacks for this this martial arts style, and also some artwork that he had made for the project. And he's also done it for using the Hana fruit with the with sort of Chinese kung fu. And so you can check those out. There should be links to those in the description of the podcast. He also has a Yu Yu Hakusho related project that revolves around Kuwabara's sister, and what kind of powers that she would have if she had the power to make spirit weapons like her brother. And it's a little underdeveloped, he says, but he's going to be working on it in the future. And there's also some artwork that he has to go along with that. And finally, he has an original project that was inspired by his love for female bad guys in video games, TV shows, and anime. And he's basically created a group of 5 deadly ladies called the 5-Legged Divas, who are each skilled in different kick-based martial arts. He's looking to turn this into a sprite project for Flash movies and such in the future. Also, I think he mentioned developing it for Mugen, which is a online fighting game engine. So we want to thank Shinjo Jin for contributing to our Patreon, and we wish him the best of luck with all of his projects.
叫び上げて心が晴れたら出発の合図を響かせゆこう
This has been the One Piece podcast for the week of June 8th, 2015, episode 372. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
All right.
Thank you.
Good chapter this week. I enjoyed it.
I like I said, I think it'll be good. It's good for pacing.
Shut up, Zach. You're wrong. You and Steve just.
Well, look.
Next time you do a One Piece read through in like another 8 years or so, then you can...
Yeah, when we do our full read through of Dressrosa, which actually might be our last read through, I haven't decided. There's really no way. It's hard to marathon those everything after volume 75 because they're not collected in a volume.
Yeah, it'll be awkward to go through this.
Yeah, I want to go through all of Dressrosa in one shot. I just don't know if that'll be doable, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we're almost done. We're almost at the end here. I was talking to Steve and I said, we haven't seen Nami, Brooke, and Chopper in longer than we didn't see them during the time skip now. I'm pretty sure. Or at least equivalent. Because it was 2 years, we technically didn't see them. And even then we saw little glimpses of them. But we really have not seen them in around 2 years. Especially Nami and Chopper and Brooke. And Caesar...
I don't think it's been 2 years, but
it's close.
Yeah, it's been over
far.
a year, definitely. A year and a half, maybe.
I see them in my heart.
Right there with Snack Riley.
So we're going to be returning Thursday with our third episode of the read-through, fourth episode of the read-through. I knew I was wrong. Covering Alabasta. We'll be back next week as well with episode 5 of the One Piece read-through, going through Skypiea. This week we have Jason Thompson on. He is the editor. He was the editor of One Piece, many other series for Viz Media. He also writes House of a Thousand manga for ANN. He wrote Manga The Complete Guide. As well. He is a very accomplished and very well-versed in the manga world, and we're very excited to have him on the show for the One Piece read-through.
Allow me to be the first to say, hello, Mr. Thompson.
You will be the first and maybe the last. So, yeah, please check that out. And we're going to be going through the One Piece read-through on Skypiea over the following 2 weeks. Also want to remind people to support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Check out our other shows, Endless Schmaltz at endlessschmaltz.com, 20 Minutes of Bullshit, and everything else that we do. Joey, how could people find you?
They can follow me on Twitter at Joey Weiser. I also have a Tumblr, joeyweiser.tumblr.com, and I have a daily drawing project called Daily Dragon Ball, which is also on Tumblr, and I post them on Twitter as well, dailydragonball.tumblr.com. We're getting pretty deep into the Z stuff, where I'm, I'm posting in about the Android Cell Saga right now.
Yeah, I saw Android 17 recently, I think.
Yeah. And so that's fun. People seem to be liking that. I definitely saw a jump in people's interest once I got to the Z era stuff. Which is, that's cool. That's good. I really loved drawing all the old school stuff, though. And then I write and draw a graphic novel series called Mermin, published by Oni Press. As we mentioned before in the intro, Volume 3 was just nominated for an Eisner Award, which is very exciting. And I will be in Charlotte, North Carolina at Heroes Con, June 19th through 21st. So if anyone's in the area and attending that show, definitely stop by my table. I'll be in Indie Island. I'd love to hear from listeners and talk One Piece and show you what I got.
Steven, where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Translatosaurus. I did not get nominated for any Eisners.
What's wrong with
this
you, Steven?
year. Although I was actually kind of hoping. I actually have been, well, not me, but the thing that I worked on was nominated for the best. What is it? What is the title of that category? It's like best US,
international Asia or something.
Best U.S. edition of international material Asia, which was Thermae Romai, the time traveling Roman bathtub.
That's quite the ghetto they have for manga.
Yeah, and I was actually really hoping that they would give us a nod for Vinland Saga this year, but no such luck. So the Eisners are bullshit, and no one should care.
Okay.
But good luck, Joey.
Thank you.
In all seriousness,
Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve. I am a cartoonist, comic artist. I am not Eisner nominated, but you could follow me on Twitter at Steve Yurko and follow all my cool art stuff on sites like Tumblr, steveyurko.tumblr.com, and on DeviantArt, thesteveyurko.deviantart.com. Also, this is the last week to order prints and charms and buttons off of my online store. That's steveyurko.storeenvy.com. That's STEVEYURKO.STORENVY.com, because there's no two E's in there. Get it?
Yes. Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
Well, Zach, it's OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com for news updates and funny pictures. Subscribe on SoundCloud. Subscribe on Stitcher. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime,
With
please.
your questions, comments, theories, and suggestions for what we could call Gyats and his Gyals. I think we already figured it out, though. So thank you guys for listening. We will see you on Thursday. We are taking off again next week for the podcast proper. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you we'll see you on Thursday, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
the kid really had a pointy head.
'The Gyals. Oh my god, that's and
The Gyals.
I'm murmuring from the what the
Ed.
Ed.
Oh shit! I thought I muted. I was already muted. And I unmuted to do that.
It was like,
All right, that's going to be
just-
for real.
it was just
Well, that ruined my awesome Gyats gal
Ed.
joke.
I was already muted.